My topic is sustainable development. It's a very wide topic. So I have tried to cover that to the maximum extent to suit this duration. Okay, one second. Okay. I think they can see this. So this topic will be covered under the following subtitles, that is introduction and the other concepts of sustainable development and goals of sustainable development. How sustainable development is linked to environmental issues. So causes of environmental problems and neighborhood sustainability and examples of sustainable development, and also the status of sustainable development in our country. This is what. So let us start with the basic definitions. Sustainable development. So let us define what is development. So basically development aims at making life better, that is to have a better standard of living. That is what it means. Now, sustainable development, the word was first coined for the first time in the word conservation strategy in the year 1980, but it received a new status with the publication of two significant reports by Brundtland North-South. It's a program meant for survival and common crisis in the year 1985. G.H. Brundtland was the Prime Minister of Norway, and he was also the chairperson of the World Commission on the Environment and Development. Actually, he defined sustainable development as meeting the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their needs. But from literature, it was observed there was a virtual separation of environment and development. It was taken seriously after the Brundtland report in the year 1987, as it considered the need for the environmental protection for the sustainability of the society on one side and improvement in the standard of living required on the other side. And this balances the environment and development. The most significant treaties that deal with this sustainable development or Convention on the Biological Diversity and Climate Change Convention in the year 1992. The term sustainable development tries to depict how environmental problems are inextricably linked with economic and the social inequalities. And the principles of sustainable development. That is, we have two basic principles. First one is intergenerational and intragenerational equity. Intergenerational equity, it actually deals with it just says that first each generation should be required to conserve the diversity of the natural resources. Second, each generation is required to maintain the quality of the environment so as to pass it on to the future generation, which they have inherited by the present generation. The second, intra-generational equity, refers to the obligation to take into account the need of other users of the natural resources in the society with the minimum impact, environmental impact actually. So the second principle is precautionary principle. This principle is applicable when there are threats of serious irreversible damage to the environment. So sustainable development is a pattern of resource usage that aims to meet the human needs at the same time preserving the general environment so that the needs can be met not only in the present but also for the future generations. The use of renewable and non-renewable resources in a manner that satisfies our current need but does not compromise the future availability of the resources. Now, just some of that. Actually, the growth or the development, it leads to depletion of the natural resources of plants actually. For example, wood. We consume unnecessary good volume of paper, too much of messy actually it is. So at the same time, we have to be aware of this carbon dioxide imbalance in the nature. The immediate solution to stop destroying forests, dematerialization of the exchanges with the legal convincing value, go for the zero paper concept. The electronic signals are sealed and encrypted in the communicating electronic safe. The identification and the counterparts is made via magic access with a new high technology concept and identifying without having to download digital certificates. So this is how it has to be balanced. As basically, if you want to just represent sustainable development, actually it means improvement of the lifestyles of the well-being, which leads to development actually, and it should be sustainable so that we are going to preserve the natural resources and the ecosystems for the future generation also. What is the need for sustainable development? If we don't aim at that, what is going to happen? That is, then there will be over exploitation of the natural resources. This means more than 1 million species on the track it will be meant for extinction. And apart from that, the decline of more than 60% of the world's marine fishes, they will be that actually. These two are the one impact on one side. Then again, if we don't go for the sustainable development, the other problem will be food production. It needs to double over the next 40 years at a time when almost about 23% of the world's agricultural land have been degraded. The other aspect is 2/3 of the world's population will be forced to live in a water scarce areas by the year 2025. And the other, apart from these two, the other impact is the climate change. Climate change increasing the atmospheric temperature and extreme weather events. And also the rising sea levels. And there is again, there's a threat, extinction threats is there, island submergence should be there, the climate change is there. Because of this, these problems are also there. So if we don't attempt the sustainable development, then these impacts are going to have a devastating impact on the general environment and also on the thing. So because of this, we have to go for the sustainable development. Apart from that, other multiple crises are climate crisis, food security crisis, energy price volatility, and economic and the financial crisis will also be there. Then if we attempt this sustainable, what are the advantages we have? It helps in the sustainable management of the natural resources available on the planet Earth. It also ensures a bright future for the future generation. It also focuses on the environmental conservation, and so that there will be safety for the future generation. And it also helps in the acquisition, mobilization, conservation of means and means of the natural resources. So what are the aims of environmental sustainable development and this development actually? So basically it maximizing the probability of attaining the sustainable development or obtaining, then minimizing the chances of environmental degradation. That is going to restrict the usage of the natural resources. So these are the basic aims of the environmental. So what are the pillars of environmental sustainable development? So basically we have three pillars: social, environmental, and economic. So these are the three pillars for the sustainability. And if you just observe this figure, you can see economy and society, so they are just engulfed in the outer circle, that is environment. And again, if you observe this, environment and social, they are interrelated. Social and economic, again, they are interrelated. Environment and economics, they are again interrelated. So all these factors, these pillars, they are all interdependent and mutually reinforcing the pillars of a sustainable development. Then if we attempt this sustainable development, what is the desired outcome? So desired outcome is we basically get clean water, that is H2O, and nothing else. And the volume, that air also we get actually. So air basically comprises of 78% of nitrogen and 21% of oxygen, and the remaining will be traces of carbon dioxide, neon, hydrogen, and other things. So if it is of this combination, then whatever there, that is perfectly ideal for the survival of the life on this planet Earth. So that's what we can get. Livelihood, healthy economical status actually, and the optimal is the most important achievement. Global warming will be halted actually, I mean it will be to stop actually. Then apart from this, safety from poverty and disease, social contact and sense of community, and then work, rest, celebration. I think we know the value of this since last 2 years, I think. Then what are the opportunities to learn and to widen our knowledge? So all these things can be achieved. Cultural development, they're all interrelated, and each should be practiced. The concept should be practiced so that there is a perfect sustainable development can be achieved. So for this, what practicing professionals or planners can do in this project? Then design project. Basically, they have to design the project to reduce the usage of the material and the energy usage. This is one of the most important thing. And as far as possible, they should go for the use of this renewable energy resources and maximum the lifespan of the structures, reduce construction waste generated. That is, whatever the construction, they should aim at reducing the generation of the waste itself, then reduce or eliminate the hazardous waste generation. This is also very, very important. It's a very important concept. And minimize the maintenance and the service required. These are all the design, the planners, they should aim at all these things. Apart from these things, The design projects are to either reduce or to eliminate the greenhouse gas emission and use ozone depleting substances and reduce air pollutants and also reduce the indoor air pollutants. These are all the things to be achieved. And then consider all costs beyond. When we talk about the estimation, all these things, that is energy, water, wastewater treatment and chemicals usage, materials usage, maintenance, operation, lifespan, and replacement of the cost. All these things should be included in the cost. The principle of sustainable development. Respect and care for the community of life. That is, this is the most important thing. This has to be taken care of very well. Improve the quality of human life. Conserve the earth's vitality and diversity. Minimize the depletion of the non-renewable resources. This is a very, very important aspect actually. Keep within the earth's carrying capacity. Climate change attitudes and practices, whatever. If it is for the better, we have to change our attitude and also practice. Enable communities to care for their own environments. Again, at that awareness, individual awareness should always be there. Then provide a national framework for integrating development and conservation. Create global alliance. So these are the basic principles. So when we try to do this, what is going to happen? That is, sustainable issues are to be analyzed and at various levels. So what are the various levels? So at the higher level, we have this global level. So at the global level, ozone depletion, climate change, air pollution, these should be taken care of. Next, coming to the national level, regional level, water pollution, water depletion, deforestation, fisheries depletion, biodiversity, desertification, and erosion. These things have to be taken care of so that the nation or the national level, things will be all right. Then at the local level, it could be a plot or a farm or a village. Again, even care should be taken to see that this will go beyond actually. And the soil loss, this is very, very important. Soil loss at any point, maybe the loss of soil quantity, it could be the chemical or the physical characteristics. So whatever, because of this soil losses, there will be loss on the farm income actually. So this has a direct bearing on the food and the yield of the food and other things. Apart from this, resource dependence, then resource dependence upon the fossil fuel or underground metals or minerals, reduce dependence on the synthetic chemicals and other unnatural substances, reduce encroachment upon nature. Again, this is also a very important aspect, and meet human needs fairly and efficiently. We can go for some new concept like tapping up of the wind energy or anything like that. What is our goal in sustainable? That is individual actually. What is our goal in the sustainable development? Sustainable development requires the active involvement of all the stakeholders like governments, NGOs, private sectors, and not only that, even the civil society is also responsible for that. It is not just the politicians or the policy makers who decide what sustainable development should be like. It is a combination of all these things, participation from all the sectors. They are responsible for meeting the sustainable development. What is needed to achieve the sustainable development? Basically, eco-friendly concepts should be practiced. Present generation should be aware for the needs of the present and the future generation. Also ensure the productive assets available for the future generations or not. And such technologies ought to be developed and practiced. Practiced with the help of to conserve the natural resources available on the planet Earth and prevent unnecessary pollution, help restore the environment whenever that is appropriate. Okay. Then what is what an individual can do actually? So the basic thing is you have to remind the policy makers to make an appropriate decision to protect your future. You can also remind them to take that you want better jobs, cleaner cities, more equitable resources distribution, and above all, guarantee that your future is safe and secure, full of opportunity, a pleasant world to live in on this healthy planet. So basically, what are the problems? Two problems, that is poverty and population. See, actually, the poverty and population along with the natural resources. If the population density is much more than the available natural resources, then probably this poverty will also be there. This will be intersection actually. So if the population density is equal to the available natural resources, then probably this problem will not be there. Then other aspect is human activity and the environment. So whatever the activity that human beings do, that should not have any devastating impact on the general environment. So these are the two problems that are associated with this actually. Then actually whatever we do, there are many ways of communication where the sustainable practices are, and each practice, they're all interrelated. So cyclic actually. So whatever the process or the concept we adopt, it should be cyclic in nature. That is, the waste generated in this step, it should be an ingredient for the next step. So it just goes like that. That is, if it is in a cyclic order, that it doesn't generate any waste. Finally, the whole concept becomes a zero waste concept, which is very good actually. Then so tapping up this solar energy. So solar energy tapping up actually is a very clean energy. It's really good that we have to attempt that actually. And whatever the practice we do, it should be totally safe. It should be least harmful on the community. And then so societal. Actually, it should be caring for the whole community that should be there. And whatever the practice or the concept we adopt, it should be affordable. That is, there should be profit with also care. Both should go hand in hand. And the whole concept, it should be the efficient one. That is, even if there is a little raw loss or anything like that, people should be able to bear that actually. And what are the goals of these sustainable development? This actually, it offers what a plan for saving the earth. Although the idea is very simple, but the task is substantial. The Sustainable Development Goals are the blueprint to achieve a better and better and more sustainable future for all. They address the global challenges what we face, including poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, peace and safe justice, and also to take further action actually. So there are about 17 goals actually. So it just goes like that. I'll just go through this. It also, all these goals, it includes end poverty, end hunger, and ensure healthy lives, ensure inclusive and quality education for all, and even the gender equality, empowerment for human ladies, for women empowerment. Then we have access to water and sanitation, access to affordability, reliable, sustainable, modern energy, and then it includes sustainable economic growth, employment, and again build resilient infrastructure, promote unsustainable industrialization, forest innovation. It also, the goal number 10 actually, it includes inequality among within and among other countries, and make cities safe. And the goal number 12, it says that ensure sustainable consumption and the productive patterns. 13, goal number 13, it takes take urgent action and combat the climate change, which is very, very important the present day actually. And the next one, the conserve sustainable use of oceans, sea and marine structures, and sustainably to manage forests, combat desertification and land degradation, biodiversity, halting all these things. Then goal number 16, it says promote just peaceful, inclusive societies. Then goal number 17, global partnership for sustainable development. So these are the 17 goals. But actually, all these 17 goals are basically, if we can maintain the usage of natural resources and maintain this, all these things can be achieved. All these goals can be met actually. Now coming to this causes of environmental pollutions. What are those things that are responsible for causing the environmental pollution? So basically, rapid population growth, that is increasing the population density, in this case, and unsustainable research usage. This is the one scary actually. So here we have to take care actually. Then leading to poverty, then not including the environmental costs of economic goods and services in their market prices. Trying to manage and simplify nature with the too little knowledge about how it works. So these are the root cause actually for all these environmental problems. Then what are the environmental indicators? So basically, first one, if you can just see, depleted soil, shortage of food, loss of biodiversity, increased deforestation for the progress, then polluted rivers, then increased diseases, that is outbreak of these epidemics, endemics, and all such things. So this, I think you can understand that in a better way for the present case. Okay, now you can just sum up all those things. Solar energy, that is sun, the energy from the sun, it is everlasting one. And then this is the main source that is controlling everything on this planet Earth. Then what are the resources, natural resources, natural capital, air, water, soil, energy, minerals. So these are the natural resources. So these things, I think nobody can create and nobody can destroy this actually. So this is the natural capital. And what are the services we can get from those things? So what is it we have to control? Pollution control, climate control, nutrient recycling, population control, waste treatment, efficient waste treatment, biodiversity, and pest and disease control. This thing. So they're all actually under the umbrella solar energy. That is because of the sun. And then what the resources. So there are basically three types of resources. Perpetual resources, that is everlasting, direct solar energy, wind, tides, flowing water, or these are all direct resources, that is the perpetual resources. Then other resources, we have renewable resources, fresh air, fresh water, fertile soil, plants and animals. About that is biodiversity. So these are all renewable. And we have something called as the non-renewable resources also. Fossil fuels, that is oil, natural gas, coal, and then metallic minerals, iron, copper, aluminum, etc. And non-metallic minerals, clay, sand, phosphorus. So these are these are the things. That is resources. We have basically three types of resources, and that is perpetual, renewable, and non-renewable. These are the systems. Then where do the pollutants come from, and what are their harmful effects? Basically, if you want to define pollution, pollution is the presence of any foreign substances of high concentration to threaten the health, survival, activities of human beings or other organisms. For example, a drop of oil in water, it means it is water is polluted, because water is only H2O, 2 parts of hydrogen to 1 part of oxygen. So in that, if you just have a drop of water or a color, anything like that, then that means water is polluted. So this is that is presence of any foreign substance in any of these natural resources. That means it is that particular natural resource is polluted. What are the types of pollution? Basically, we have two types, that is point source and the non-point source. Point source, any single identifiable source of pollution from which pollutants are being discharged. That's called as a point source. And we have non-point source pollution resulting from many diffusers. It can be petroleum refining, transportation, etc. So on. Even iron ore mining or anything like that. Apart from that, we have paper industries, construction activities, and runoff, woodwork, light pollution, coastal beach erosion, cattle ranching, groundwater contamination, agricultural, fertilizers, pesticides. So all these activities actually, it results in the pollution and also the contamination of water. How do we degrade our environment? That is how we really degrade our environment. Basically, it is like this actually. That is major environmental problems are air pollution, water pollution, biodiversity, food supply, and waste production. So the first and the most thing is air pollution. So because of air pollution, there's a global climate change, stratospheric ozone depletion is there, urban air pollution is also there, acid deposition and resulting in the acid rains, and then outdoor pollutants, indoor pollutions, and the other one is also noise pollution, can also be associated with that. Noise pollution is also there. Then we have water pollution. Sediment deposits are there, nutrient overload, toxic chemicals, then infectious agents, oxygen depletion, the pesticides, oil spills, and because of the excess heat, all these things actually. Then we have the third one, biodiversity depletion, habitat destruction, habitat degradation, and extinctions of some types of species. So these are the three things. And waste production, any activity, it results in the generation of the solid waste or hazardous waste. So waste production is solid waste and hazardous waste. So these are the environmental problems actually. Then apart from this, the other major problem is food supply problem. That is overgrazing, farmland loss and degradation, wetland loss, loss and degradation, overfishing, coastal pollution, soil erosion, soil salination, soil waterlogging, water shortages, groundwater depletion, loss of biodiversity, and poor nutrition. So they all these are. So major environmental problems, these are all the things, that is air pollution, water pollution, then biodiversity depletion, waste production, and food problems. So these are the major environmental issues. Now, if you can just say a definition of the sustainable development. So sustainable development, what is to be sustained? So that is the nature, it has to be sustained. That is earth, biodiversity, and ecosystem. So this is to be sustained. And life support. So because if you are sustaining this, what is going to happen? So it's going to support this ecosystem, services, resources, natural resources on the planet Earth, and also the general health, the general environment. And who is going to be benefited? The community, and community with the cultures and various groups and in different places. So this is to be sustained. Again, what is to be developed? So individual, that is human beings, the child, that is infant, the survival, life expectancy should increase, actually it should be more, and education to all, equity and equal opportunity to all. This is one aspect about the human beings. And economical aspect is income, greater wealth, greater production, and greater consumption. This is another aspect. And society, the various institutions, stages, different stages of the, and the regions, different areas. So what is to be sustained, what is to be developed. Again, for how long this should go on? How long this should go on? 1 day, 2 day, 10 years, 25 years, it's not that. It is forever. That means that balance should be there between the what is to be sustained and what is to be developed. So that is, it's an everlasting process actually. So this should be there. Actually, there's a titled The Lorax. If one were to see this movie, it's just like our word is like a Lorax. The character in that movie is facing the environmental problems like pollution, global warming, oil spills, littering of garbage, some ocean or anything like that, deforestation, loss of animal habitat, all these things are being neatly highlighted. And the lesson learned from after observing this movie is we need to respect the nature and our natural resources and fight to protect them. We should not destroy them, because once they are gone, that might be, there might not be any magic seed left to rejuvenate them. So this is the lesson actually, lesson that we can know after seeing this movie. And then actually after seeing this movie, we can just answer this. Also, we can respond to the question. If somebody were to ask you the question, what is the relationship between resource consumption and environmental problem? I mean, this is being, we can definitely answer this after watching this. If you get the time, please watch this movie regarding this title, that sustainable development and how we have to be there. What's the consequences of using the natural resources without keeping an eye on the future generation. Or now coming back to this, what are the indicators, environmental indicators? So basically, deforestation, aquatic pollution from solid waste, and infectious disease threat. This is a very dangerous one, as we are all facing right now. Neighborhood sustainability. So what is the thing that we have to do for this sustainability? Basically water, then waste management, solid waste management, hazardous waste management, green space and community space, walkable arrangements. So all these things should be maintained. We have to look into that. So conserve water. What is the usage that why we have to conserve this water? So conserve water basically to guard against the rising costs and the potential conflict across the countries or across the states or anything like that, and to prepare for the future droughts, another aspect, and to make water available for the recreational activities and also for survival of this flora and fauna, and to strengthen the communities. So sum up what you can say, the overall is to preserve the environment. We need to conserve water. Just say conserve water, that means you are conserving the life actually. So actually everything, wherever possible, we have to try to reduce the usage of water. Suppose maybe 15 liters will be reduced. A dipping tap can waste about 15 liters of water per day. So this adds up to about 5.5 liters of water per year actually. So what is, it's a huge amount actually. So that has to be eliminated. And even while doing that, usage of water while that is close the taps while brushing, shaving and other things, so that there is the reduction in the usage of water. And again, in the water, so where do you get water? Drilled wells, dug wells, and nowadays we have this rainwater harvesting through a system of proper systems and catchment. So whatever the rainwater that is collected after the rain, that has to be collected properly and it should be used for some purpose. Okay. Then again, coming to the usage of the wastewater. So urban wastewater, which is roughly about 99% water content itself. So it comprises of domestic effluent from that is the black water from the restrooms and associated surges from the individual houses. Grey water again from the kitchen, and wastewater from the kitchen and the bathroom wastewater, water in individual residences. Then other aspect is water from the commercial establishments, institutions, including hospitals, the things. Then urban wastewater is also generated from the industrial effluent. Of course, industrial effluent, now they aim at the zero waste discharge. Maybe this may not be a big problem now, but still this is also one of the components of the urban wastewater. And apart from it, also include the storm water, that is urban runoff after the rains. So this is included under this. And then marginal poor quality water provides a large umbrella that is the saline water, drainage water, wastewater. That is the combination of this, that is domestic, industrial, and the biological wastewater. Actually, wastewater is not a burden, It is a valuable resources actually. It's a valuable resource. When we remove the impurities from that, when we recover whatever that's possible to recover, and then wherever it is possible, we can reuse that. And of course, we have to reduce the generation of the wastewater. If we aim at all these things, definitely wastewater is not a burden. It is a valuable resource. Only thing is, it has to be properly, we have to use all these concepts. That is the 3R concept. to achieve this. Okay, wastewater is a resource of increasing the global importance, particularly in urban and the peri-urban areas, to growing wastewater volumes. It is a source, actually, it is a source which is very rich in nutrients and highly productive resource if used safely, which is available for 24/7 into 365 days. And without proper management, wastewater use poses a serious risk to human health and the general environment. And with the proper management, wastewater can contribute significantly to sustaining the livelihoods, food security, and the quality of the environment. So wastewater already irrigates in many areas. This is being practiced. In majority of the urban areas, wastewater sector are focused mostly on the wastewater disposal rather than recycling and reuse. Benefits of wastewater farming far outweigh the drawbacks, so it can be attempted. Reuse of wastewater has not received much attention by the policy decision maker, perhaps because of the viable models, lacking of the viable models with the necessary research and technology support. Strong policies, legal framework at the national and the state levels, sufficient trained manpower in the urban, the local bodies are required to attain this. Wastewater, the impact of this actually. So what are the negative impacts? Health costs along the food chain, environmental costs. It could lead to water and the soil contamination or soil pollution. It could also lead to water pollution. It could also lead to salination if that is not taken care of properly. But if it is taken care, extra care should be taken to see that these impacts cannot be eliminated. And what are the positive impacts? Positive impact is it saves fresh water, potable water, and it is reliable year all through the year actually. And all through the year, the source of the high, which is very it has got a high nutrient value. And the nutrient source is NPK, calcium, magnesium, and other organic metals. It also helps in saving the usage of the fertilizers. And it is saving the ground. And another impact is it saves the groundwater pumping cost and ecological services. So these are all the positive and the negative impact of wastewater usage. Again, water, the potable water is there. It can be used for the potable water. Once it is used, it becomes a wastewater. So again, wastewater, it should be taken care of properly. It should be collected and it should be treated and such that it can be reused for irrigation activity, aquifer recharge, and some of the industrial process, and also for heating and cooling. Okay, so this is how it has to be done. And then we have this the same thing in Bangalore. BWSSP supplies water to the BWSSP is an organization that supplies water to the Bangalore city. They have constructed India's first domestic wastewater treatment recycling plant of about 1.5 MLD capacity in the premises of Kaban Park, which is very close to our Vidhan Soda, to meet the huge needs of water, to maintain this historical Kaban Park and also the surrounding buildings, surrounding public buildings, other parks and other things. They are just maintaining these things by the treated recycled water. This plant is an excellent example for recycle reuse, saving a huge volume of fresh water or the potable water to maintain these units. And they have also attempted one more thing. They have taken up a recycle and a reuse program of about 135 MLD of wastewater from V Valley plant, which is located very close to Bangalore University, by going for the tertiary treated techniques using advanced treatment process with a membrane and a granule activated carbon. And the wastewater from this, they are supplying it for the nearby industries and also for the building activities. Benefits of wastewater reuse, of course. The direct benefits are recycles and thereby conserve the fresh water, recycles nutrients, reducing the need for the farmers to invest in the chemical fertilizers, and provides a reliable water supply to the farmers, particularly in low dry areas actually. So direct benefits, just prevention for pollution, the rivers or streams or any water bodies, canals and other surface water sources. Otherwise, it would have been used for the disposal of the wastewater, and disposes of municipal wastewater in a low cost and also in a hygienic way actually. So these are the direct and the indirect benefits of wastewater usage. Waste management, that is solid waste management. Recycling can also be done. Use of landfill to power ST plants can also be attempted. Whatever the waste that is, it can also be done. And then another aspect is you can go for the composting so that the manure, whatever that is attained from this, can be used for the growing crops and fertilizer. It can be used as a fertilizers. I can say, basically, if this is managed properly, protect the environment by managing the solid waste properly. So the first step is segregate, then segregate and dispose each of these things separately. Try to reduce the generation of the solid waste at source. This is the, I mean, every individual should have the awareness to reduce the generation of the solid waste at the source itself, maybe at their house individually. Then attempt to recycle. That is, glass, paper, plastic can be recycled. It can be stored separately and then it can be given to the people where they just aim at this recycling. So one half of the problem will be solved. See, the other organic waste. So for even it can be composted. Composting, if possible, within the household itself by having a pit in their garden or in their compound or anything like that. Pit of about 1 foot by 2 feet, depth of about one feet if they can take, and it should be covered with a glass lid. So every day, whatever the organic waste that is generated in the individual house can be dumped into that, and a layer of sand can be placed and close the lid. So just leave it for about 30 days. 30 days, you get the manure actually. So this is one way. So if we can attempt these two steps, and that's why we need not depend on the solid waste people who come to collect these waste actually. So one thing is what I suggest is first we have to follow and then we can advise others. Then actually regarding the solid waste, what's the how to manage the solid waste? Logical priority would be, I mean, this is for industries actually where the hazardous waste is being generated. Logical priority would be reduce the generation of the hazardous waste at source itself. Any industrial unit they can attempt this. That is, try waste exchange. Acid or alkali solvent that can be interchanged and because maybe that can be an ingredient for the other unit. So that waste exchange, it can be attempted. Then attempt to recycle. Again, glass, plastic and even energy content, other useful resources can be attempted for recycling. And then detoxify or neutralization by chemical or the biological treatment. Then reduce the volume of the solid waste by dewatering. Destroy combustible hazardous waste, go for incineration or anything like that. Then whatever that is left out, solidify stabilization of the sludge to reduce the leaching ability. And then finally, whatever that remains at the end of all these steps, that can get into the designed landfills. So each step, if we attempt, probably about 5 to 10% we can save at each step. So at the end of this seventh step, actually, maybe if we can save about 30%, still it is a very good achievement at the industries where they generate this hazardous waste. And outdoor space, make provision for the outdoor space. That is, community green space supports a walkable urbanism. So make that is a footpath that should be there for the pedestrians and even for the bike friendly, and it is safer for the children. So that should be there. That is, outer space should be provided. And coming to the food, okay, the farmers market, backyard gardens, buying locally or sustainable grown produce, buying should be in the appropriate season. So at least if we can support these things, well, it's a good development actually. So we can aim at that. Then home sustainability. This can be done by 3 things. That is, home design, usage of the building materials, and interior products. Now, coming to this home design, go as far as possible, go for green roofs, and definitely you should have the solar panels in the yard or on the roof, facing north south to catch the wind, the breezes, natural breezes. Trees placed on the east and the west side of the house, mixture of the native, whatever it is, it can be placed on the west and the east side of the house. That again, when you are planning the house itself, you have to have all these things. Okay, that's one thing. Then usage of the building materials. Go for salvage wood, go for local materials, source like green builder source or anything like that. Sustainable insulation, recycled fiberglass insulation made from double paneled windows can also be thought of in the beginning itself. And interior products, Energy Star appliances, repurpose hardwood floors and their cabinetry, low flow facets, that is taps in the toilets, so that the usage of water will be reduced. Compact fluorescent lamps, and then low or no organic carbon paints actually. Then countertops made of recycled materials, usage of glass, aluminum, paper, etc. can also be done. Recycled carpet and carpet made from the natural resources can be used. Okay, this is about that. Then what environmental professionals can do in their project, or in general, professionals can do while planning the projects or designing the project. ST treatment plants, digester gas for energy, heat exchanger for sewage effluent, heat recirculation from transformers, blowers, irrigation using plant effluents. So this, they can aim at all these things. Then in the urban development, redevelopment of the brownfield sites, previous pavements in the parking lots, residential systems, constructed wetlands and ponds. Then transportation, of course, public transport emphasizes pedestrian or bicycle friendly zones. Then animal and bird crossing culverts, the use of materials. So this again, it should be attempted. Architectural building system. So while doing this planning, consider sun, wind, and daylight so that maximum energy can be used. Maximize the use of structures and materials. Use natural ventilation. Construct low flow toilets and urinals. Consider solar systems. This should be mandatory to power outdoor lighting, parking lots, walkways, and other things. Use automatic lighting that controls and the response to available daylight. This can be, all these things can be attempted while planning, designing any projects. Then what are the examples of sustainable development? And so examples are, go for green spacing, go for crop rotation, go for this sustainable design and construction, go for water efficient fixtures and renewable clean energy, waste to water, waste to energy recycling, water treatment, water treatment facility. So this is of course, these are all very green spaces. Everybody knows that. Actually, they say that 30% of the area in any of these buildings, it should be reserved for green spaces. What did you say? So in 2020, proliferation of the green spaces within the urban areas is expected to continue on a large scale. Sustainable green spaces are areas, grass, and other types of vegetation located within the primarily urban environments. Parks are one of the biggest sustainable development examples. Wherever in any area, any community, park, it should be there, and they are one of the biggest sustainable development examples. So because of the eco-friendly aesthetics, that is, it just welcomes aesthetic and a change of pace from the concrete jungles, skyscrapers in urban areas. Green spaces provide real value in terms of sustainability. That's what we actually need. They improve the air quality, recharge supplies of the groundwater, reduce air temperature, protect the streams and lakes from the polluted runoff. They also prevent soil erosion, help to maintain the quality of water in the area, and others actually help to minimize air moisture intrusion, air pollution, noise pollution in any buildings or homes. So eco binds from this actually are made from this are made from eco-friendly materials like reed, jute, bamboo, or sustainability absolute. Of course, this is waste to energy recycling. I think so sustainability, we can do this with the help of what is called as a regreening or go green concept. Recent studies shows a nature-based solution can contribute up to about 37% of carbon emission intake required to keep the global warming below 2 degrees Celsius. It's a big achievement actually. So vegetations cause sequestration of the carbon, decreasing the amount of carbon in the atmosphere, subsequently reducing the greenhouse effect, ultimately leading to the mitigation of the global warming. Vegetation also causes the cooling of the soil, decreasing the evaporation of water from the soil surfaces, leading to the increased water availability for plants, animals, and human beings. In addition, greenery, it stimulates the water cycle, causing the increased rainfall and the retention of the water in the soil. The increased increment in the soil, the increment of the soil's moisture content makes the land available for agricultural, again producing good yield, producing food income for the local communities. Crop rotation, actually it is just a practice of planting several different types of plants on the same land over the successive sessions. This practice is done because when the same crop is grown in the same place for several years, definitely the soil is depleted. It depleted and it loses certain nutrients. So by going for this crop rotation, a crop that depletes a particular nutrient can be followed in the next section by a plant that retains the same nutrient back into the soil. So of course, there are so many benefits. Nitrogen management, it plays a key role in reducing the risk of nitrate leaching into the surface and the groundwater by improving the availability of the soil nitrogen and reducing the nitrogen fertilizer which is used. And by going for the crop rotation, it also improves the soil structure. Diversity in the root structure will enhance the chemical, physical, biological structure of the soil. So having this green spaces, just about adding the touch of nature to the cities, this look actually, but can be a part of the larger design plant because of the environmental benefit that they provide, such as urban advantage. That is, it helps to regulate the air quality, reduces the temperature from the paved surfaces, recharges the groundwater, protecting the lakes, water bodies from the polluted runoff. Water quality protection is also there. Proper landscaping reduces the nitrogen leaching from the soil into the water supply and reduces the surface water runoff, keeping phosphorus and other pollutants out of the waterways. It reduces the heat buildup in the area. Actually, peace in the parking lot can reduce the heat buildup, decrease the runoff, and enhances the cooling effect. And it also reduces the soil erosion, and it improves the air quality. So these are the advantages of this cover. And reduce soil erosion, it improves the improvement in the pest and disease control. Different plants take away the host organism and causes a disruption in the annual life cycle of insects, diseases, and weeds. So thereby, to some extent, the pest and disease control can also be achieved. Reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The use of nitrogen is drastically reduced, considerably lowering the greenhouse gases and emissions. Other important thing is reduces water pollution, reduced use of synthetic fertilizers, reduces water pollution caused by the nitrogen, and reduced use of pesticides means less runoff into the ground. So these are all the achievements from the crop rotation. Sustainable design and construction. So again, when you go for the design planning the buildings, building construction consume resources, it generates waste, create potentially harmful emissions, and fundamentally it changes the function of the land, including its ability to capture water and absorb it into the ground. So sustainable design and construction practices seek to curb or offset the adverse effect. In addition, to include the green spaces, the example includes minimizing the non-renewable energy consumption, using many recycled products as possible, using environmentally preferable products from the recycled products and other local sources. Of course, all this thing, then we have got the stratified existing structures. These generally accepted the standards for sustainable design have been developed by LEED, that is Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. Of course, there are many benefits, that is environmental benefits are there, economic benefits are also there. Environmental benefits, basically it protects the ecosystem, it improves air and water quality, it reduces emissions, it conserves a good amount of water, and restores the natural resources. And temperature also will be controlled, then reduce waste streams, and totally the generation of the waste reduction is also being attempted. And coming to the economic benefits, aids in the expansion of the green market, optimizes the life cycle of the building, reduces operating costs, increases the property value, improves the occupants' attendance and productivity. Renewable clean energy. Coming to this, renewable clean energy is probably the most obvious examples for sustainability. Here there are three examples, that is the solar energy, wind energy, and geothermal energy. These are the main examples what I can give. Of the sun, the solar energy, once the sun electromagnetic radiation is captured, it produces heat, electricity, and light. Wind energy, wind turbines convert kinetic energy in the wind to mechanical energy, and that can be used actually. Geothermal energy, geothermal power station can use the escaping from the inside of the earth to generate that, and then the attractive locations for these seismically are active actually, these stations are seismically active and they can be used. And actually areas like California and Iceland, there it's very good actually. Okay, the advantages is improved public health. It improved public health. It doesn't produce a negative health impacts from air and water pollution. Inexhaustible energy. This is the one which is very attractive actually. Strong winds, sunny skies, abundant matter, heat from the sun, and fast moving water can easily provide a vast and a constantly replenished supply of energy. Economic benefits, there are many. Renewable energy is much more intensive. It creates more jobs. Energy industry business, it creates economic impacts in areas including the manufacturing process, development, construction, turbine installation, operation and maintenance, transportation, logistic, financial, legal, consulting services. Owners of the land on which the wind projects are built often receive these payments, and local governments can also benefit from clean energy from renewable energy projects owners. Then stable energy prices. Although renewable energy requires upfront investment to build, they can then they operate at a very low cost, which means renewable energy prices can be can be stable over some time. Reliability and resilience, because the wind and solar energy is distributed over the large geographical area and modular, numerous and with turbines and solar arrays, small scale, this doesn't have the major impact on the delivery of energy. This is one thing. And waste to energy recycling. Valuable natural resources like fossil fuels and other water are finitely diminishing. As the scarcity increases, cost also increases. At the same time, the resources will be more expensive, or we simply won't be able to get them. This poses a serious business problems, and it requires evaluation, planning, and investment. So, investment in waste to energy to preserve valuable for our fuel. Our process, it generates energy. When you have the process, some concept to generate energy, electricity or any like that, steady from the combustion and the non-recyclable hazardous waste, and can be anything, rags, organic debris, or PP or absorbents earmarked for this landfill. Then it can be used actually. So waste to energy won't completely solve either the waste or the energy problem, but it provides an important step. That's the first step actually. So whatever it is, waste, liquids are filtered and blended, then directed to the solvent actually to recover still from this. Solid waste is thermally heated to about 1500 degrees Fahrenheit and generate steam, and that steam can be used as an energy source to power those stills, reducing our dependence on the valuable natural resources such as propane and things like that. These stills produce technical grade solvent product that can be sold back to university, sold back to industries itself. Everything can be used. So used and reused. So nothing is wasted here. Water efficient fixtures. Depleting reservoirs, groundwater aquifers can put water supplies for strength and an environment at greater risk actually, serious risk. Lower water levels can lead to this higher concentration of the natural contaminants such as radon, arsenic, or anything like that. Even other pollutants, such as agricultural and chemical waste. Water science program can be as some certified product that use maybe about 20% less water than the conventional fixtures without sacrificing the performance. This is what we exactly need. Water science certified fixtures include dual flush toilet and would improve the efficiency of the water appliances, including toilets, facets in the new and existing buildings, which could save water to about 20%. So these can be adopted. These can be suggested also. And coming to the water treatment plants. These plants intake oily water-based water-based acids and turn them into clean water that can be used for some purpose in the industries. Not only this helps to eliminate the pollutant from the water cycle, but also reduces the need for the outside water providers. This makes water treatment plants another thing, and our treatment plants and another one for some favorable sustainable development examples. Of course, wind turbine and solar panels, they will be discussed later. And now coming to the sustainable forms of energy actually. So in nature, we have solar energy, wind energy, hydroelectric power, biomass energy, and geothermal energy. All these things are all sustainable forms of energy. If we want to go for the sustainable development, achieve that, then any of these things can be adopted and can go for and can and go for the sustainable development. Now coming to this solar energy, one Russian scientist, actually he was the one who first formulated this idea of this tapping the solar energy, and then by going for the solar cells based on the solar energy. So in 1894, an American inventor, Melvin Xavier, he applied this concept and received the patent for two solar cell designs, which were both based on the photoelectric effect. Solar power is the energy from the sun, which is converted into thermal or electrical energy. Solar technologies convert the sunlight into electrical energy, and through this photovoltaic apparatus or through mirrors and concentrate the solar radiation. This energy can be used to generate electricity and can be stored in batteries or the thermal storage. Solar energy actually is very flexible, is a flexible technology, and can be used as a distributed generation. It can be located at or near the point of usage or at a central station. From there, it can be distributed. A utility scale solar power plant, similar to the traditional power plants. Both of these methods can also store energy produced for the distribution after the sunsets using cutting edge technologies can be done. Then we have this solar technologies. There are three types of that. One is photovoltaics. It generates electricity directly from the sunlight via an electronic process and can be used to power anything from small electronics such as calculators and road signs up to the homes and larger commercial business units. And the second one is solar heating cooling, that is SHC, solar heating and cooling. And the third one is concentrating solar powers. Of course, these two applications both use the heat generated by the sun, provide space or water heating in case of this SSC systems or this CCES systems. It also used run traditional electricity generating turbines in case of the power plants. Solar technologies, whatever it is, whatever the technology we adapt, it can harness this energy for a variety of uses, including generating electricity, providing light, comfortable interior environment, and heating water for domestic, commercial, or industrial usage. And nowadays, even solar cookers are also available. Solar pumps are also available. Solar fencing. People are adopting this even nowadays. And then we can use the solar power even to run AC. So the application of solar energy, it is just endless. The only thing is we'll have to know the concept, how it has to be used, and that has to be adopted. And then the other aspect is you can go for the grid solar systems, means so using solar energy without depending on the grid. This system comprises of the solar panels, the panel inverters, as well as the batteries. Of course, advantages and disadvantages. See, advantages are it's a renewable energy source. It definitely reduces electricity bills, and the diverse applications are there, as we just discussed, and low maintenance cost. And of course, low maintenance cost is it's only thing is probably once or twice in a year we'll have to just clean it up and call the person associated with that just to see that that unit is perfectly fit. That's all actually. Otherwise, it's all the advantages we have. Coming to the disadvantages, it is costly. That is initial cost is there. What I feel is when we see all these energies, we can just bypass this disadvantage. That is cost. There is initial concern, but again there is a reduction on the power bills. So over a period of time, we can go for the break-even point, and then thereafter it's only a benefit actually. So I feel this is not a disadvantage. Only thing is that it can be measured, it can be listed a cost, like economics, it can be listed under this disadvantages. But I feel we can just forego that. And weather dependent. Weather is, of course, solar energy is weather dependent, but ours is a tropical country. How many days in a year we have this problem? Because I am using this since almost about 30 years, 3 decades. Probably in a year, about 5 days or 6 days, we face this problem. Otherwise, it will be very normal. So I think even this weather dependent, even this is not a disadvantage according to me, and uses a lot of space. Of course, if you want to achieve anything, maybe on the terrace, if you want to achieve anything, you'll have to forego something. Even this is also not a great disadvantage. So when you see all these advantages, the 3 disadvantages can also be, we can just solve the benefit because of the benefits we get. It can classify as a benefit itself because of the advantages we have from the solar energy. Of course, India, actually coming to India, actually it's in the race actually. There are a lot of things being attempted in our country also. And see, actually in 2006, every state is also aiming at tapping up the solar energy. In 26, in 2016, DO, it became the first state in the country to run completely on the solar energy during the day. It is mandatory in that particular place. The power comes from 2 solar parks, which is spread over about 0.2 square kilometers, and the rooftop panels on about 112 government establishments. It's really amazing. We have to appreciate this actually. In all, 2 parks have the capacity of 10.27 megawatts, operate for about 12 hours in a day. This part we have to appreciate. I only wish that solar lighting is made mandatory in all government organizations and also in street lighting in all the cities. Imagine how it will be. Imagine the savings on the power. Imagine the dependency on the power actually, power, the BESCOM or whatever it is. So I only wish that it is at least in all the government organization and all the streets, the cities in our country. I just wished for that actually. Actually, okay. Among the in our country, about 5 states they have achieved good progress in tapping the solar energy, and I'm happy to mention that Karnataka is leading this states. Actually, Karnataka heads India's list of states producing the solar energy with the total installed solar power capacity. We attained about 7,100 megawatts is being generated. It's way ahead compared to the other states. Of course, Karnataka's 13,000 square acre Pavagada solar park, it's called as the Stektisala in Tunkuru district, is the second largest solar power plant in India with the production capacity of 2050 megawatts. And this state is likely to set 3 more solar units. Capacity of about 2,500 megawatts in the districts of Bidar, Koppal and Gadag. The second, this is for the Karnataka is being followed by Telangana state. This has spread about 180 locations. It is not concentrated on a single location or anything like that. They are spread over 180 locations. It has to be appreciated, which is launched in the year 2014. Telangana's total installed solar energy has reached about 5,000 megawatts, and they're set to achieve by 2020, which they have done. This includes standalone solar rooftop units as well as the grid connected ones. State also opted for a distributed solar installation model, which managed to take about 450 crore rupees, 450 crore worth of savings, just to be appreciated. And instead of concentrating these for a single location, they spread across about 180 locations, just to be appreciated. And the third one, we have Rajasthan. Actually speaking, Rajasthan is the one which has got the capacity, maximum capacity to generate the solar in our country. So they say they have the highest potential to generate to tap the solar energy than any other region in the country. By November 2019, the solar power projects accounted for 4,400 megawatts of solar energy, with about almost about 2,000 megawatts in the pipeline. So by 2025, Rajasthan aims at installing a total capacity of 30,000 megawatts of solar energy. It's a very good target actually. And they have this Badla solar park in Jodhpur, which is currently the world's largest fully operational solar park with a capacity of 2,245 megawatts of installed solar energy. And Rajasthan is also home to India's only tower type solar thermal power plant. The central government has plans for about 25,000 megawatt ultra megawatt renewable energy in the next 3 years. Next years during the first phase, about 10,000 megawatt solar power is quickly installed in the state. And this is followed by Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh came to be the India's second largest state in terms of renewables. Renewables possessing about 10% of the nation's clean energy capacity, with its solar and wind project totaling about 7,700 megawatts. State's cumulative capacity of commissioned solar power is more than about 3,500 megawatts, placing it as a fourth in the list. The region is actually they have this ultra mega solar park in the Kurnool district to the raising demand of the power in the states. The government of Andhra Pradesh is planning for a 10 gigawatts mega power projects, which intend to supply free of charge uninterrupted supply to the agricultural sector, which is to be appreciated actually. Then we have Gujarat. The Gujarat, out of this total renewable energy, Gujarat was about 2654 megawatts total energy. The state is planning to boost its renewable energy capacity to 30,000 megawatts by the end of 2022. As of March 2020, it ranked up top in India for the domestic rooftop solar installation, which is about 64% of the country's total, about 8,000 fittings actually, to support India's target of installing 100 gigawatts of solar capacity, of which 400 has been planned through the solar rooftops. So Gujarat's single biggest solar power generation can be found in Patan district of Charanka Solar Power Plant, which currently produces about 600 megawatts. So this is about the solar energy. And now coming to this wind energy. So wind again is a form of solar energy caused by the combination of three concurrent events. That is, sun unevenly heating the atmosphere, irregularities on the Earth's surface, and the rotation of the Earth. Wind flow patterns and speeds vary greatly and are modified because of water, vegetation, differences in the region. We use this wind flow, the motion energy, for many purposes. That is, sailing, flying, kite, even generating energy. When the mechanical energy enhances unit by harnessing the wind power, it will be called as a windmill, wind pump, or a wind charger. Wind energy can be used for anything from power on boats, battery charging, or electricity to being used commercially. Examples how wind can be used include the generating energy. Wind turbines work on a simple principle. Instead of using the electricity to make wind like a fan, wind turbines use wind to generate electricity. Wind turns the propeller like blades of a turbine around a rotor, which spins the generator and causes the electricity. The same thing actually, the same concept is being used. And application of the wind turbines. Basically, there are three types: land-based wind, offshore wind, and distributed wind. Land-based wind turbines range in size from 100 kilowatts to large as megawatts, several megawatts. And turbines are mostly cost-effective and are grouped together into wind plants, which can provide bulk power to the electric grid. Then we have the second one, offshore wind turbines. It tend to be massive and taller compared to the turbines, and they do not have the same transportation challenges as the land-based wind installations, as large components can be transported on ships instead of the roads. These turbines are able to capture powerful ocean winds and generate vast amount of wind energy that could be utilized. Then we have these wind turbines of any size or interlaced on the customer side of the electric meter, and or they're also installed at or a place where the energy they produce will be used there itself. They are part as a distributed wind. Wind systems are defined by technology application and not by technology size, and are typically a smaller one, that is up to about 20 watts can be used, million watts can be used. And of course, there are some advantages and disadvantages of the wind energy. Again, advantages is wind energy is a clean, environmentally friendly fuel source. Actually, this is environmental. It does not pollute air, like power plant reading on the combustion of the fossil fuel. It does not produce atmospheric emissions that could cause acid rains or anything like that, or greenhouse gases or anything like that. And of course, noise and visual pollution are plain factors, but they don't have a negative impact or negative effect on the eastern side of the water table or anything like that. The air we breathe. And this is basically, it's a renewable and a sustainable energy. Winds are caused by heating, of course, the same explanation it holds good actually. Then it's also cost effective. Wind energy is completely free. There's no market for demand or supply of the wind energy. It can be used by anyone, and it's low price renewable technology which is available today depending upon the wind source and particularly the project's financing. Then we have this industrial and domestic installation. Wind turbines can be built in the existing farms or the ranches where most of the best winds are found. Wind turbines usually uses only a fraction of the land, which causes no trouble in the work, the farmers or the ranchers, and it provides the landowners with additional income. With the wind power plants. Many landowners opt to install smaller, less powerful wind turbines in order to provide a part of the domestic electricity supply. Disadvantages, fluctuations in the wind and good side. This is the one basic disadvantages it has got. Energy has a drawback. It's not a constant energy. Although wind energy is sustainable and will never run out, it isn't always blowing. This can pose serious problems sometimes when the wind turbine developers first don't have there is a problem to them actually. So for a wind turbine, every location where it builds have to be should be the thorough survey has to be done, and then only it has to be going for this select the wind site to have an adequate supply of wind energy all the time actually. So it also, the other problem is noise and aesthetic pollution. Wind turbine generates noise. Of course, this is one thing some people may not be able to just to this actually. A single wind turbine can be heard from hundreds of miles away. All the steps are taken to site wind turbines away from the dwellings or the communities. Many people like to look at the wind turbines, others do not see them as a for the paper. So it again, it depends. Aesthetic, it may spoil the aesthetics, or sometimes it also improves the aesthetics. And if people have who have traveled from Bangalore to Davangere, I think that. So at a place called Chitradurga, and the highway itself, you see several wind. Actually, this it's a good site actually. There the aesthetics actually I feel it's nice there. And it's not a profitable use of land. Alternative use of land might be highly valued than the electricity generation. And sometimes another disadvantage is there's a threat to life. Birds have been killed by flying into the wind turbine blades actually. It is believed that wind turbine poses less of threat to wildlife than other man-made structures like cell phones and other things. Most of the problems have been resolved or greatly reduced through this technological development by properly siting the site for these windmills. Of course, there are so many in India. There are about 5 or 6. That Dalgon wind farm. Dalgon wind farm is in Sangli, Maharashtra. This was commissioned in the year 2005. This has got about of course, it's roughly about 2,400 megawatts of this power plants have been installed in this actually. So this is the one which is been installed in Sangli. Then next we have Vankusawada Wind Park. It's again it's again in Maharashtra itself. Maharashtra, it's also home to about 300 megawatts. It's a wind power, which is one of the largest wind power productions in wind power production facilities. Is situated on a mountain plateau, the Koina Reservoir, very close to Koina Reservoir. It has of course, it is one of the oldest one. And then Brahmavanal, this wind farm is also. This is located in Dhule's district of Maharashtra. This actually is the largest wind installed capacity after Tamil Nadu's 4098 megawatts. Then we got Jaisalmer. This is very popular Jaisalmer wind park. Second largest onshore wind project, and this is located in Jaisalmer district, and this started in the year 2001. This is Suzlon entire products will be about 350 hertz model to the latest one being used in this project. Of course, renewable energy solutions to provide this Suzlon built wind farms range of customers include private and public sectors, independent power producers. They're also there. These are about the wind farm, and then Uppandal wind farm is also there. This is situated in the south, that is in Kanyakumari districts of Tamil Nadu, which about 1,500 megawatts. This is the country's largest onshore wind farm. This has a large number of wind turbines of varying sizes actually, of 200 to 1650 kilowatts. There actually, this is this is also there. This is the one from the south. Of course, this has been discussed. Many advantages and of course we have this hydroelectric powers. This can also be generally hydroelectric power consists of turbines that rely on the gravity flow of water from a dam to turn the turbine blades to generate electricity. So generally hydroelectric dams are built specifically for electricity generation, not used for drinking or any other purpose like irrigation or anything like that. A typical hydroelectric project is 3 parts actually: a power plant where electricity is produced, a dam that can be opened or closed to control the flow, and a reservoir where water can be stored. So this water behind the reservoir flows to an intake, turns these blades in the turbine and cause them to turn. It generates hydroelectricity. Okay. So of course, even this has some advantages and disadvantages. It is a renewable energy, low emission, and it's of course also reliable. And of course, some of the disadvantages are also there. Disadvantages are also there. It could lead to environmental consequences. It's expensive to build, drought potential, limited sources. Because if we have some measures to contain this, we can go for this type of thing. Of course, the energy provided due this hydraulic is a domestic source of energy, allowing this to produce their own energy without being reliant on the fossil sources. The energy generated through hydroelectric relies on water cycle driven by the sun, making it as a renewable power source, making it more reliable and affordable sources than the fossil fuels that are being depleted. Of course, this is the fundamental impoundment reservoir. It just creates reservoirs that offers a variety of recreational opportunities, maybe fishing, swimming, or boating, or anything like that. And this so required to provide so public access to the reservoirs, to allow the public to view these units. And hydroelectric powers can quickly go from zero power to maximum output as they generate power to the grid immediately. They provide essential backup power during the major electrical disruptions or anything like that. In addition, sustainable fuel energy, hydropower offers other benefits such as flood control during emergency, and then irrigation and water supplies. Okay, now current scenario. What is the attempt from in our country? So current scenario in India, it places itself 5th out of the 7 South Asian countries in the global ranking on the sustainable development goals. India has achieved a rapid economic growth over the past 2 decades, and it has improved score from 57 in 20 to 60 in the Sustainable Development Goal Index in 1920, and the country's overall Sustainable Development Goal Index score improved by 6 points from 60 in 2019 to 66 in the current year, that is 2021, on the account of the improvement and their effort and in the performance in providing the facilities, including clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, among others. And then, of course, mainly they are aiming for to develop these training courses, key sectors to be viewed in our aiming at agriculture, power, energy, and the water sectors. Okay. And now conclusion, coming to the conclusion, what I can just say is in the final analysis, sustainable development is a long-term conditions for humanity's multi-dimensional well-being. It is not one day, 2 day, 1 decade. It's not like that. It's a very long-term conditions. We have to go for that if we really want to have a perfect balance between environment, natural resources, and development. And then the other conclusion is, like Earth is the most fascinating planet in our solar system, as it provides the ideal, optimal environmental conditions for the survival of life. It could be human beings, animals, plant life, flora, fauna, anything. With the advent of science and technology, there has been an immense impact on the general environment because of the imbalance of the ecosystem as a whole. So pollution, progress, they are like 2 sides of a coin, but they should be balanced perfectly, so that our general health and general environment to be taken care of. I can just say that education is an essential tool for achieving environmental sustainability. That is basic awareness. Each individual should have awareness to achieve this sustainability. Education for the sustainable development is a tool process for equipping students with the knowledge, understanding skills and attributes needed to work, and in a way that safeguards the environmental, social, and economic well-being, both for the present and also for the future generations. This is the most important thing. And some things actually just to save sustainable or the save earth actually. So basically we have to adopt this judicial use of water, because we know the amount of water that is available on this planet Earth is constant. Nobody can create and nobody can destroy water actually. So we have to go for the judicial usage of water, and we have to guide the students, and especially the younger generation, the children. We have to tell them, because the children, when they are young, if we can guide them, we can give them some of these values, they just remember that and they follow that. And then go for rainwater harvesting. Because of rainwater harvesting, recharging the groundwater, there is groundwater recharge will also be there. and that is another achievement. And go for greenery. More because of the greenery, more oxygen is being supplied, and our health will improve, and it reduces noise and air pollution to some extent. Don't waste food, whether it's your party or somebody's party or whatever it is. Don't waste food anywhere. Manage solid waste. That is, try to adopt this 3R concept. Try to reduce the generation of the waste itself at the source itself. Then go for reuse or recycle. That is, adopt the 3R concept. Then tap solar energy wherever it is possible. Solar energy possible for heating, lighting, fencing, pumping, anything, AC or anything like that. Tap solar energy. And if you are a consultant, make sure that the proponent will adopt the solar energy concept anytime. Then control noise at the source itself, so that the general environment will be very friendly. So finally, develop awareness especially among the younger generation, the children actually. Okay, thanks for the patient hearing.